we should probably ask the head of the Muslim Student Association, who's standing right here, if he is against Hezbollah, Hamas, and I think that that's extremely important. May I ask him?
Of course. Well, let him ask his question.
Yeah, you know, first of all, you're saying to condemn Hezbollah, Hamas, or just by condemning them, it makes it seem as if the MSA here has some kind of association with those people over there. We have nothing to do with them. It's not my responsibility to denounce anyone. I don't see you denouncing Ann Coulter saying that Jews need to be perfected.
Of course he didn't answer the question. Yeah. But there's a lot of people have an opportunity. What he said was, his answer to the question was, he doesn't need to condemn terrorist organizations, because that would make it... What?
No, but like I condemn...
Wait, let me finish. Look, we gotta have a little order. A little order here. Hassan Nasrallah has said that he hopes that the Jews gather in Israel so we won't have to hunt them down worldwide. The head of the Muslim Students Association is comparing that to Ann Coulter's statement that Jews need to be perfected. Now, if you are a Christian, or if you understand what Christianity is about, you'll understand. You will remember that Jesus said, "I am come to fulfill the law," that Jesus was a Jew who believed that the Mosaic law was imperfect and that Jews should follow his gospel. That's what Jesus believed. So for a Christian to believe that Jews should be perfected, that's their religion. That's what they believe. I don't have any problem with that so long as they don't try to perfect me. I mean, this is what America is, and this is why people in America, if you take the people who live in America, whether it's Croats and Serbs or Jews and Arabs or Protestant Irish or Catholic Irish, in the other parts of the world they kill each other. But here we live side by side because we all agree, kind of to let everybody do their own thing and, let God sort it out. I don't have any problem with that. I do have a problem with somebody who is inciting millions of people to kill me. And I have a problem with somebody who won't condemn that. And that's you.
Hi, my name is Walid Afifi. I'm a professor here on campus. And I do want to thank at least the opposite perspective from being offered. I would actually like to invite you. I'm the faculty advisor for the Students for Justice in Palestine. I would love one of those Students for Justice in Palestine. So right away, you're exactly. But what I'd love to see, because one of my frustrations is that we get these speakers and then we get question and answer period that's not actually productive at all for understanding. You argue about the two sides that we need to have. I would invite you right now to come in a month, next year, whenever, with another person in whether you want political science and religious studies, anyone that can actually have a discussion in a debate format where these two sides are in fact viewed on an equal level as opposed to question and answer.
Do you want to
accept that invitation?
Do you want to debate, or do you want to...
Not myself. There's people that are...
No, I didn't mean it that. Is what you're asking for a public debate, or do you actually want an intellectual discussion that might be held in a seminar room where we could really explore things?
As long as you are willing and the other person is willing to engage in a civil discussion where both sides of the story are presented, that is what our students need to see. They need to see disagreement. They don't see stereotyping. They need to see disagreement engaged in a civil manner.
You pick the time. I will be there. I kind of live down the road a little bit. Otherwise, it'd be a harder thing to do.
So you've already implicated me as an enemy of America since I am the president of the Muslim Student Association. First of all, I would just like to say I would never sign anything with your name attached to it. You're calling me the enemy of the United States. Why would I tell you to do anything like that? Second of all, of course I'm against killing innocent people everywhere. It's not something that needs to be said. That is something that human beings inherently have. You know, the fact that you can come over here and question whether or not I'm a human being or whether or not I have morals or values, that's irrelevant, really. The people that know me in this community, people that know Muslims, are not going to buy your bullshit. And first of all, you said that this MSA is involved in terrorist activities where Campus Front Group.
I never said that.
No, that's what your ad said. Your ad
didn't say that.
No, your ad said that, right? Your ad said that, didn't it?
No, it didn't.
Campus Front Group for Jihad? Does that not sound
That's a
familiar?
little different.
Okay, well,
I didn't say you were involved in terrorist activities. I said that your group is a supporter of terrorist activities. There's a difference. And you've shown it tonight by refusing to condemn Hezbollah or Hamas.
So the question is, what proof do you have that this MSA has anything to do with Al-Qaeda, Hamas, Hezbollah, anyone of these organizations?
It's the National Muslim Students Association, which, if you're not an affiliate, say so. And I withdraw the claim. But the National Muslim Students Association was created by the Muslim Brotherhood. If you want to disclose all your funding and what your affiliation means, that's fine with me. In the pamphlet we've distributed, the Muslim Students Association on this campus attacked a Muslim who was condemning terrorism and obstructed his speech. Now, why would you do that if you weren't sympathetic to the terrorists? You can explain it to me and I'll listen, and if you have a reasonable answer, I'll accept it.
No one has ever done that.
And there are no homosexuals in Iran. I know this law.
Don't compare me to Ahmadinejad. You think it's funny, but it's not. That's your response. No, there's no evidence for anything that you say. You just come here and you talk. That's all you do.
Yeah, actually, there were sources for that report. Well, if you go to Discover the Networks, you'll find what the source is there. It's an encyclopedia. It's like Wikipedia, except it's edited by us. It's like Wikipedia, except it's edited by us. And that
Mr. Horowitz.
I am? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm kind of a hard man. You made me cry because you're a hateful person.
Can you tell me why you're wearing a terrorist headscarf?
I'm not wearing a terrorist.
What's the boo?
That's a cultural symbol of a people. Do not call it terrorist headscarf.
It is not terrorist. It's not.
100%.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
This is
Stand up and when there's someone else out there with you, tell that story. We'll stick you in the debate.
Here goes all of the... Everybody not in the club. Everybody not in the cult in this audience can see, and this was a professor.
You are wrong. That is wrong. You cannot attack a person on a cultural
Did your mother
appearance.
teach you
That is wrong.
manners, huh? Yeah, my mother taught me manners. We're about to,
That was wrong.
the cult here can't handle any kind of dialogue.
We asked if you have a question.
So you all, wait a second, I mean, this is a learning, what they call a teaching moment. We saw a professor who was the faculty advisor for Students for Justice in Palestine, pretend to be a rational person, inviting me to a civil discussion about these issues. And the minute somebody says something that he disagrees with, he explodes like a maniac and storms out of the building. 100% of the Palestinian people have voted for two terrorist parties, two genocidal terrorist parties. Neither the PLO nor Hamas, both of them are sworn to the destruction of the Jewish state. That is genocide right there. Hamas has it written into its charter. These are people who kill their own children by strapping bombs to them and sending them to blow up other little children. The Palestinian people support terrorism. 85%, according to an Arab poll taken on the West Bank, supported the gunman who went into a school library and slaughtered Jewish students studying. Kids just like you. 85% of Palestinians support that. That scarf is a terrorist, genocidal, Hitlerian scarf. And it's not a cultural symbol at all. It's a symbol created by a monster named Yasser Arafat, who stole from the Palestinians themselves $35 billion and put it in a Swiss bank account. Yasser Arafat died with $35 billion in funds earmarked for Palestinian refugees and contributed mainly by the United States and Israel, put it in his Swiss bank account. He was a murderer, he was a terrorist, and if Palestinians had any Palestinian, I should say, with sense, would know that Arafat is their enemy, and that's who created that scarf. That is the symbol. That's Arafat's symbol.
Are you ready?
Not really. Not really.
Obviously. With all due respect, sir, my father and my little brother are Jewish. They practice Judaism diligently. Okay? I have here the MSA starter kit from MSA National. It states the autonomy of every MSA group on every campus, that we have no affiliation with even MSAs on other college campuses. Now, I would like for you, if you could, to let me know where I can find any of the things that you've launched at our MSA.
I made one accusation against
Could
your
you find it here in our MSA starter?
Well, that unfortunately doesn't describe when you guys shouted down a Muslim who was condemning terrorism on this campus.
Sir, so is that a no?
And the answer,
is that
if you're not affiliated with the National, that's fine.
No, we're not affiliated with anyone.
All right.
Aside from these Muslim students that are sitting here.
You don't go to their conferences or anything?
Absolutely not.
All right, that's fine.
So that's a no then?
That's a no.
It's a no. What? It's not a no that you shouted down. I mean,
Would you like to have
you've held an Islamic Awareness Week.
No.
Hello, Mr. Horowitz. I'm pretty sure you know my article. It's the one that you cited in whatever it was. I'm Brendan LaFranchi. I'm the one who wrote the article about 2 weeks ago. I started off saying that I am Christian. I agree with several of your aspects about, an infiltrated world does not have to be conscripted infants, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, you went around this prospect of trying to convert us to drink your Kool-Aid in a completely wrong manner. And to you saying that you did not make an accusation to our MSA that it is not a radical political group, cited in Nexus Today, it says, in fact, the MSA is a radical political group that was founded by the members of the Muslim Bloc, of the Godfather of Al-Qaeda, etc.
That's the Muslim Students Association. I noticed there are about, maybe 50 people in here identifying with the Muslim Students Association. I haven't heard one condemn people who want to kill me because I am a Jew. And until that happens, I am not changing my attitude towards this group. That's simple. You understand that? Pardon? Which people? Hezbollah? Yes. And who are you also?
My name is Elliot Bazzano. I'm a PhD student in the Religious Studies Department and a member of the Muslim Student Association.
All right.
And the comment I want to make, which I am responding to your question, probably not in the way you'd like, is Bill O'Reilly was on David Letterman one night, and something very insightful took place. Let me finish, please. He said, David Letterman, do you want us to win the war on terrorism? And Letterman took a second. Bill O'Reilly said, just answer it, yes or no, it's a simple question. And he said, well, no, it's not, if you're thoughtful. And the reason I think this is important, Mr. Horowitz, and I also think it's important to have opposing viewpoints at this school, and I thank you for taking part in that. And let me finish all brief, give me 15 more seconds, please. Is by answering your questions, saying, do you want to condemn Hezbollah, yes or no? Is Hamas terrorist, yes or no? These are complex issues, sir.
No, they're not.
And
no,
by asking us to put them in a very small box that you are creating for us, you're creating an artificial environment to respond to something that we may not have, that we clearly do not have the same perspective about. And it's a very unfair power dynamic that you're asking us to respond to on the spot in a very small, news clip kind of response. We're at university, we're constantly writing long papers and responding in sophisticated intellectual ways, and which is a lot different from the kind of news bite response you want. And I apologize for going over 15 seconds. That wasn't my original.
What do you think of David Duke?
Excuse me?
David Duke, you know the name?
Yes, I'm familiar with the name. He's affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan.
He was when he was younger. He's a racist. Well, can you condemn a racist?
I don't understand what you're asking.
Well, I don't think those are complex questions. Hezbollah is dedicated to death to Americans. That's pretty much everybody in this room. Condemn it? Hard? Difficult? Complex?
Ms. Horowitz, my question for you is, I cited in my article to the Nexus certain aspects of my life, and I will not sign your petition. Does that make me a terrorist?
No.
Then how come you're doing that to our MSA association?
I'm not. I'm waiting for one Muslim in this room to condemn an organization which is sworn to kill Americans and kill Jews. That's not too hard. One. Is there one here?
No.
No, there isn't. So I rest my case. Let's have another question.
My name is Nader Honardar, and I'm a Law and Society major, and I just wanted to say firstly that I think it was very wrong of you to pass such a blanket judgment against that man who's wearing the turban or the scarf against, I'm sorry, it was very wrong coming from a person, if you are from academia, am I right? You come from the academic world?
No.
No, you publish.
I tell you, the academic...
Well, can I
publish books about the academic world, and I have a very low opinion of many academics, with good reason, as demonstrated by the professor who invited me and then I guess disinvited me.
My main point here is that I just think...
You want me to have respect for that?
No, I want you to have respect for a person's individual life. I don't think you are in the right to come here and pass such a judgment. I mean, we're all subjective. I don't believe in objectivity. I think we all are subjective. But I don't think that you should be passing these blanket judgments without knowing. I mean, this person in law society...
He comes up in front of me, is wearing a terrorist scarf, honoring a monster who will go down in the history of the Palestinian people as one of the worst things that ever happened to them, and who will not condemn Jew haters and Jew killers, and you tell me that I'm making snap judgments? Come on.
I think you're getting beyond the point. I think what I want to
ask,
sir,
spent too many years in the university, and it's kind of glued up your brain.
Okay, listen to me. Listen to me very carefully, sir. What I want to ask you is, I think fundamentalism is tantamount to indoctrination. So when you come in here making a point about Islamic fundamentalism, there's Christianity fundamentalism too, as evidenced in the Ku Klux Klan, as well as in other religions that I'm not aware of. My question to you is, why do you come here to establish something beyond the norm in terms of informing these people that religion has to be distinguished from fundamentalism? Is that what you're saying?
I had a discussion like that. The Ku Klux Klan is a very good analogy for the Muslim Brotherhood. That's what they are.
So why don't you criticize them? Why don't you bring these other manifestations of fundamentalism into the picture rather than just one? Why do you homogenize it to one group? It has to be a holistic account of everything, am I right?
No.
And I understand your feeling.
You're not right. You make distinctions. You know, read Lawrence Wright's The Leaning Tower. It's a non-political book. It's a history of the Muslim Brotherhood and Al-Qaeda and Hamas and all these organizations. Next, please.
The premise for a lot of your argument was that a lot of women are being suppressed in these Arab nations, and the only way that we found ways to keep peace in Afghanistan, where we were only holding down Kabul and maybe 15% of the we're basically helping the other Iraqi militants keep Sharia law. So I kind of find that un-American that our troops have only found a way to establish peace in another country. There's no Monroe Doctrine, there's no rebuilding, there's nothing like that. We're basically putting them back. We're basically putting these countries back into Sharia law. Like, so I find that completely false.
We didn't have a lecture tonight about Iraq, so you know it's an interesting argument.
It's Afghanistan. It's all of it.
Well, we didn't. There wasn't. You know,
liberating brown women.
Right. This is all irrelevant. So go ahead. Next. Not really. I mean, you want me to go into a history of the Iraq War and the role that the left and the Democratic Party has played in tying our hands so that we are.
It was on your poster. That was what was on your poster, and we haven't done anything.
Well, I didn't have enough time. I didn't want to, like you would have enjoyed being listening to me for 2 hours instead of 1. I don't think so. Go ahead.
I would like to ask you to please actually listen and respond to these questions. You've been talking over the questioners, and yet your people...
Geez, I had the opposite impression.
Hey, excuse me, your people kick out us when we do that to you. So why should you not be kicked out for doing exactly the same to us?
I understand your desire to shut me up. It was evident before I ever arrived on this campus, and why shouldn't you find another way to express it? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Imani Gillian, and I'm a PhD student at UCSB. I'm Iranian, and I want to thank you for all your hard work that you're doing for coming here to this hostile territory and doing all this good free publicity for these minorities, because these people have been represented by their worst and they don't have many allies. So I just want to thank you for doing that. And if you ask me, yes, I do condemn every breed of terrorism: Muslim, Christian, Jewish, communist, you name it. I condemn all of them.
And I am a first-year business economics major. I have a two-part question. The first part of my question is, to what extent does the recent move political correctness affect the whole Islamofascism movement and the Muslim Student Association as a whole? And my second part of my question is, I was wanting to appear on my podcast sometime later, Rational Ransom Party.
What party is this?
Well, I only have a radio show. It's a podcast, Rational Ransom Nick Pardini, where I talk about politics and societal issues.
I think political correctness, unfortunately, has been with us for over a quarter of a century, and I prefer to refer to it as the party line. It's the line that leftists, who unfortunately dominate sections of our liberal arts colleges and our media, enforce. So, as I said earlier, it prevents you from using a term like Islamofascism, although Islamofascism is a perfect description of Al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, and Hezbollah.
Hello, sir. My name is Naveed, and I'm a sociology major. I just had a few questions about your history. Now, when you said that the fight in Afghanistan and Iraq is for the souls of Muslims, I always thought it was a fight for oil. And then also, when you mentioned that we didn't support the Shah as much, I always thought the Shah was put in power after a political coup by the CIA when there was a democracy. And isn't it true that the U.S. supported the Taliban, or what they call the Mujahideen? And, you know, Osama was our boy back then, and we wanted to fight against, you know, Khomeini, so we made a little general called Saddam Hussein our boy. So I always thought rather than the stories, it was all about oil. Would you say that? I may be wrong, but...
You are wrong. You are wrong. Since the oil is owned by the Arabs anyway, the United States, if it wanted the oil of Iraq in the first Gulf War, could have just smashed we did. We smashed the Republican Army. They could have overthrown Saddam, and we could have taken the oil. But and you said you're a sociology major. Unfortunately, the sociology department is dominated by brain-dead leftists, not only on this campus, but many, and they are reactionaries. So they think in 19th century terms. It is absolutely true, as I said, that Iraq was created by the imperialists to divide up the oil. This happens to be the 21st century, and that is not what motivates the United States, and that's not why we are in Iraq. The United States, just a second.
Oh, no, go ahead, please.
If you read Lawrence Wright's book, you will find that Osama bin Laden was a rather pathetic figure in Afghanistan. The United States did not fund Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. No, it didn't. Read Lawrence Wright's book. Read 10 books. It's just a flaw. It's just wait. You asked me. You know, I'm answering your question. It's part of the mythology of the left, which is a very large and elaborate mythology that we created Osama bin Laden. But the fact of the matter is that by supporting the Mujahideen and defeating the Soviet Empire, we liberated 1 billion people across the world, and that was worth it. And Osama bin Laden would have been dead long ago if Bill Clinton had focused on killing him instead of his golf game.
Actually, I got my information from Mark Juergensmeyer, and I don't know if you know him, but he's a very good guy. He's been studying terrorism for a long time.
You know, let me just say something. Excuse me. If that professor had more control over his emotions, if he was more adult, we could have had, I would have come, we could have sat down, you could have shown me your books, I would have shown you mine.
David, three more questions?
Yeah, the three is, it's 10:30, is that 9:30? 9:30.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Mills. I'm a Spanish and Chicano Studies double major, and I was wondering, two-part question. When you say in your ad that the Muslim Students Association was founded by the Muslim Brotherhood to bring jihad into America's higher education, would you not consider that associating them with terrorists?
Yes.
You would not
I did, yes, it's associating them with terrorists. They are part of the jihad, and they've shown it tonight.
But
I didn't say that they were terrorists. You know, it's different. A terrorist is somebody who straps bombs on himself and blows things up.
Well, since they are
I'm not accusing them of that, because that's an easy one to wriggle out of. The people that care spend their entire time trying to sabotage America's defenses against the jihad, to undermine our security programs, and to harass people like me. But they don't throw bombs. So I don't say Ibrahim Hooper is a terrorist himself. He's a supporter of terrorism. And I have to say that as the son of American communists, I'm very familiar with front organizations and with, playing two sides of the street. You have a spy organization, you have a military organization, and you have lawyers, lots of lawyers.
All right, in that case, since they're just supporting terrorism, isn't that within their First Amendment right to support
Absolutely,
that organization? They won't.
but it's not an obligation of, for example, students at this university to fund such an operation. There are many issues involved here. I've never said shut them up. I didn't protest there, saying, why are you printing letters from the Muslim Students Association? I answered them, insofar as I was given the opportunity to do so. Go ahead.
I'm Kevin Kunding, I'm first year English major. I believe this declaration against genocide was drafted by yourself, correct?
No, actually, it wasn't me, but yeah, but I.
Oh, but you're supporting it, right?
I edited it, if you like.
Well, you ask the people to affirm the right of all people to live in freedom and dignity.
Yes.
Now, if everybody has that right, why would you call somebody wearing a ceremonial head adornment, calling it a terrorist right?
If I came up here wearing a swastika, would you call that cultural?
Yes.
Not cultural. It's political. I mean, we can use names for anything we like. You can, it's just cultural. But it's not. It's a political statement, and everybody in this room knows that. Arafat, created it as a political symbol, and I'm treating it that way. Yeah, like this wouldn't be worn here if Arafat didn't wear that to the UN and wear it all the time when he was making his incredibly fraudulent and mendacious statements to the world, and that he was interested in peace. Go ahead.
I'm looking at your website, Front Page Magazine, and it says, it has an article that says there is a jihadic professor at this university. It calls Professor Lisa Hajar a jihadic professor. The article was not written by you, but I just wanted to know if you consider that professor a jihadic.
I don't remember. I see in my book. Look, there's a billion professors. I mean, what?
So,
who said that?
Is it a yes or no?
For what? Because I don't know her name?
So you don't know?
I have no idea who you're talking about. I have it sounds familiar. I may even have written about it, but I've written, millions of words, so.
Hi, Mr. Horowitz. I would actually like to thank you for coming here and bringing this intellectual diversity to our campus. And I have looked into your work, indoctrinate you, and I do think that it's important that we have an equal representation of conservative and liberal views on campuses. However, what you are discussing now in this forum, and too bad it couldn't be more civil, but it's more civil than many other times you visited schools. I don't think that personally attacking members of the community, the Middle Eastern community, whether it's in your articles, whether it's in your ads, whether it's right now, is a beneficial environment to debate. I personally, really enjoy that we're having this conservative view brought to our campus, but I don't think this is a conservative view. I think this is a very hateful and view that's marginalizing a community, and on that note,
in other words, Muslims are absolutely beyond criticism.
Excuse me? That's not what I said.
That's exactly what you're saying, because who did I attack? There was a dialogue going on here. I didn't start out. It's not a question, it's an indictment. Maybe there should be some remedial English taught here. I don't know.
So beyond the sweeping statements that you're throwing out, attacking the Middle Eastern community here, I think you're...
I am not attacking the Middle Eastern community. I am defending 140 million...
Sir, please let me talk.
girls who have their genitals sliced off without anesthetic. That's what I'm defending. So don't tell me I'm attacking the Middle Eastern community. I believe we had a gentleman from Iran here who is part of the Middle East who didn't feel attacked. In fact, thank me for what I'm saying. So what you are doing is you're adopting.
I'm not going to sit up here and defend myself.
Well, don't.
I'm not going to sit up here and. No.
I didn't ask you to.
I'm trying to say that you're making sweeping statements that are not taking into consideration one thing. Just because someone is Middle Eastern, they're Muslim, they're whatever, does not mean that they're a raging liberal. I think you're making that accusation with.
I don't think these things. Look, first of all, the people. Wait a second. Maybe you didn't hear me say. Because when you're making an accusation, you're doing exactly what I said at the outset that people do. If you disagree with them, if you try to analyze what actually goes on, they want to shut you up, and the way they do it is by accusing you of being a racist, which is just what you accused me of doing. I very clearly said in my talk that the majority of Muslims do not support the jihad.
What I'm trying to
and
say
I said that it.
What I'm trying to say is coming here and presenting this dialogue, which you're trying. I feel like we're trying to have a dialogue right now, but you're shutting me up. By saying that I'm a Palestinian. Let me just say that, okay? I'm Palestinian. I happen to be Christian too. I happen to be American as well. All right? If you put those three together, that doesn't make sense in your book, okay? But look, I'm in the flesh. It exists, okay? I'm on this campus as a student, and I'm learning about politics. For you to come here and for us to discuss politics, I don't feel like we're having a dialogue. I feel like you're making accusations about my culture. You're calling my people an existence that never happened. Like, I don't see how this is a compatible debate. That's all I want to say.
All right. I appreciate that. I regret the fact that we are not going to be able to sit down, in the forum that professor suggested, because if you think I'm going to walk into a room with that guy as a moderator, you're nuts. And if you think that's going to be a civilized discussion, you're nuts. Because there are very interesting questions that we could discuss. I am reacting to your accusation that I am attacking Middle Eastern people. I am attacking a terrorist, I am attacking an Islamic fascist movement. When I attack, if I attack the Nazis or the Italian fascists, I'm not attacking all Italians. And this is a maneuver. I mean, I think actually you did this fairly innocently, but it's been the movement on this campus. If you read the Nexus, every single attempt to answer my ad is an accusation that I'm attacking Muslims, which is a lie. I am attacking Islamo-fascist Muslims.
Did you or did you not just call the headscarf a sign of terrorism? You did.
It is. I did because it is. What do you think it is? I am not attacking. I am attacking a Yasser Arafat symbol. What don't you understand about?
It's a great way to start an election.
He's the one who made it a symbol. Sure it does. You know, the swastika is an ancient Aztec symbol. Thank you. It's an ancient Hindu symbol. Hitler made it into a fascist symbol.
Palestine is not the enemy of this country. You are.
I'm going to finish on this, but the young lady is referring to a pamphlet that we've handed out, Palestine, America's Enemy, which points out factually and historically that the Palestinians first supported the Nazis, then they supported the communists, and now they support the Al-Qaeda and the anti-American jihad. So calling Palestine America's enemy is perfectly legitimate. Learn to live with the reality instead of the mythological. Thank you all.